Hello, everyone, and welcome to Movie Talk. My name is Mark, and on today's show, the New Mutants gets pushed back, Deadpool gets pushed up, and Charlize Theron's new trailer, well, boy, that just makes parenting look awful. But I am joined by a tremendous panel of youngins here today. Look at everybody. First up from the Movie Couple channel, Miss Wendy Lee Zany's back.
You guys, I'm so happy to be here, and I have so much to tell you what I learned about Meghan Markle last night.
I did not know that royals are not allowed to have social media accounts. That's very interesting. Yeah,
They're also not allowed to eat shellfish.
Good idea for our politicians as well. No shellfish here and no Twitter accounts. But you love him on Twitter. You love him in real life. He is the newsman, and he hosts Inside Schmodown. Did a great job guest hosting Jedi Council yesterday. That is Kenneth Napzok.
Oh, thanks for those really warm words on a Friday. What a start to my weekend.
That's what I'm here for. And this next panelist is maybe the most controversial of anybody here at Collider with his hot takes on kids wearing sneakers into theaters that light up. Dennis Zen, do you have any comments about that here today?
Yeah, I can't believe that's still going on. If you follow my Twitter feed, people still are arguing that kids shouldn't run or should be allowed to run around with light things on their feet. It's crazy.
It's just amazing, all the crap that you see on Twitter day in and day out. Like me, I'll complain about fast food. I'll mention baby carrots, Coors Light. Nobody ever says that's a first world problem, but they hear Dennis debate whether kids should be wearing light-up sneakers into theaters, and everybody attacks you.
Well, most people support him, but there's a few people who are very staunch in their opinion about letting kids do whatever they want.
I saw one father commend you yesterday on Twitter for saying that when he goes into the theater, he makes sure that his kids' light-up sneakers are turned off. I didn't know you could turn them off.
That's a hero right there. That's a hero. I actually don't think children under the age of like 12 should be allowed in theaters ever. So maybe I'm the problem.
See, I am going to your movie theater, and if you're going to the movie theater in 2018, you may be a little surprised as to which Fox picture is opening first. This, according to Deadline, the new Gambit spin-off movie in the X-Men universe encountered even more trouble when Gore Verbinski, the third director in as many years, left the project citing scheduling conflicts. On the heels of the announcement, The Hollywood Reporter reports that Fox has shifted their release schedule for their upcoming X-Men movies. The untitled Deadpool sequel, Deadpool 2, has been bumped up by 2 weeks and is now going to land in theaters May 18th. 2018 instead of June 1st. So we get a Deadpool movie sooner. Meanwhile, Josh Boone's horror-themed take on the New Mutants is getting a major move and will now land in theaters 10 months later, going from April 13th of this year to February 22nd, 2019. And lastly, Gambit. Poor Gambit. It was originally set for February 14th. 2019 is now going to be in theaters, at least for right now, June 7th. 2019. So, Ken, I'm throwing all these release dates at you. I realize it's coming at you pretty damn fast.
Yeah.
What do you make? Are you more excited that Deadpool 2 is moving up, or are you more concerned that New Mutants or Gambit are pushed back?
I mean, at this point, I'm not surprised on anything again, but I think Channing Tatum should just direct it. Seriously. Like, this is the story you want to tell. Get in there. Have your wife come in and help you do a sexy dance number and make it happen. Like, why are we trying to find someone else? Something's clearly not wrong, like it's bad behind the scenes. Just there's some kind of karma with this project right now. Let's just Channing chat take it over yourself. As far as New Mutants and all this stuff, when I start hearing like testing and it didn't like I just glaze over. Like just go make the movie. Don't worry about the audience. What I'm worried about is Deadpool 2 a week before Solo. Star Wars conspiracy theorists can rise up. Does that mean Solo moves? That I know is going to be a question asked.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of unpacking that we have. And our good buddy Jeff Snyder from The Wrap reported that the reason why New Mutants is getting pushed back is because of Dennis, that favorite buzzword of movie talk. Reshoots are happening. It didn't test great. It didn't test horribly, but they didn't like the way it tested, and they wanted to add more horror elements to New Mutants. Now, it's always been pushed on us as saying, hey, this is going to be a horror-themed take. It's like a haunted house version of an X-Men movie with different characters. Off the heels of it is why they're saying they wanted more of a horror element here. So we're having more reshoots. Does that make you panic about your excitement for New Mutants?
It makes me a little worried just because always when you decide to retroactively change a movie, not because of maybe some story issues or some filmmaking issues that you see within the film, but because you see a trend that you want to go towards. So if it was huge this year in horror, you know, they expect to be huge in 2019, they're going to change the movie. But if it's tweaks to make the story better, the movie better, that's a different thing. But just to follow a trend.
You talk about reshoots, Wendy. The Han Solo movie has been inundated with the bulk of the film being reshot. Is it going to stay on that May 25th release date, or does Fox know something that we don't, and that's why they felt more comfortable putting Deadpool 2 up?
I mean, I feel like they don't want to. From what I've seen with Star Wars, it has the potential of staying in theaters much longer than a lot of the other movies. Now, I'm not saying that Deadpool 2 isn't a blockbuster. I know I am already prepping my wallet to purchase a ticket for both Deadpool 2 and Han Solo. I'm a little less excited for Han Solo. That's always kind of been like what I've been saying here. Like I love Star Wars. I'm still going to go see it. But I hope they don't move it. I am... Really, I look at all these notes and I look at all these dates and everything gets shifted around. I understand with productions and scheduling and this and that, but I'm so sick of like anticipating a movie to come out on this date and then it gets moved back and back and back and back. So by the time you get to the theater, you're like, so what am I going to see? Am I going to just see a bunch of like reshoots, you know, kind of string together, or am I going to see a fantastic film? But I think it's actually smart to put Deadpool 2 before Han Solo. And like I was saying before, I think Star Wars movies have a great track record of staying in theaters a long time because people will either go back and see it over and over and over, or they skip that opening weekend because of the crowd. So with Deadpool coming out first, they won't have to compete with Solo. They will be the first up.
Well, they had that little Avengers Infinity War movie. Now, they are going to get a 2-week respite because Avengers Infinity War kicks off the summer in earnest May 4th. And then 2 weeks later, Deadpool 2 is going to be in theaters. And then a week later is going to be Han Solo. That's the schedule. As of right now, we're shaping up for a pretty good May, Ken.
That's like one of those Scott Mantz movie years. 1982! This movie came out this week! This movie came out! Could be just one of the greatest summers in blockbuster history if everything falls into place. And the one thing, this is the state of the industry, I totally understand why you grab these release dates. It's real estate. You're like a prospector in 1849. We're going to stake a claim here. You get here, and then it's a shuffle. So I understand the business of release dates. Just sometimes when you're like, we took this pitch of a movie, we got a go picture, and now we got someone going to release in 2021. Like, how about you just go right and make the movie, and then maybe start thinking about how you're going to release it? Again, I understand the real estate of release dates, but this stuff seems to happen a lot more, or at least we're aware of it more.
Dennis, do you think that this is just the question of Fox shuffling their calendar accordingly due to reshoots, or do you think that there's more at play here that we don't know?
I'm not too sure. I mean, some people are mentioning in the chat about Disney, but Disney has no effect on Fox's decision at the moment. I mean, still that deal, is signed, but they still has to pass through a bunch of regulation before Disney can actually take over. With the whole Gambit thing, they've been trying to make that thing for a long time. I talked about it with Roka yesterday. It's like The Crow. It's like a cursed project that keeps changing hands. So that gets delayed. New Mutants gets delayed. Deadpool moves up, which I actually don't think it's going to hurt it that much because it is an R-rated, more comedic tone, so it's different than something like Infinity War. Star Wars Solo movie, I think that might have to move because the buzz on that hasn't been that great. Maybe that will change after the first trailer, but right now the anticipation for that isn't that big, so maybe Disney will move it.
We haven't seen a trailer for Han Solo yet. Are you betting that it's going to move?
Yeah, I think so. I think just this is anecdotal evidence, which is based on our fans that watch our show. Like both Gambit and Han Solo, just really there's no buzz from the fans about either two of these projects.
Like I don't really even care, honestly, after all this like switcheroo with all the directors. Third director now to drop out of Gambit, and Gambit's like next to Wolverine, my favorite X-Men. I don't want to see him in a solo movie. I just don't think it's gonna have that excitement to it's not going to be as good of a blockbuster than say other X-Men. Like I would want to see Gambit represented, but in an ensemble.
See, we were talking about Donald Glover on Jedi Council yesterday. That's one of the things that's really getting me excited about the Han Solo movies because I want to see a young Lando. I want to see the Millennium Falcon. I want to see Boba Fett. The Alden Ehrenreich playing Han Solo, that's the biggest hurdle to get over for me as far as like, oh, okay, does that feel like Han Solo or is it just somebody doing Han Solo on ice? That's the big test, and we haven't gotten a trailer yet. I think it's going to stick on May 25th. I really do. I don't think Star Wars is going to bulk at Deadpool 2, and it's the summer. There's always another train coming. This is what Star Wars wanted. For whatever reason, they did not want to do Han Solo during Christmas. I don't understand that decision. I think if I was Lucasfilm, I'd say, no, we're just going to own Christmas every year throughout the next 20 years. They wanted to go on May 25th, whether that's to celebrate the original release date of Star Wars back in 1977 or not. New Mutants is the one that I'm actually a little panicked about, because I don't think you delay this thing an entire year unless you're doing a major overhaul, more so than they're letting on. I know they want a horror element. I don't know how many reshoots there are, but this movie was coming out in April, and now it's not coming out until next year. That's the one that I'm more concerned about, and I want to know more about that. Gambit, I treat Gambit like we treat The Crow on this desk. Like, yeah, oh, okay.
We talk about it, never going to come out.
Oh, it's finally happening. Now we got a director and a star. Let's wait until they actually are shooting. Let's wait until we see a trailer for Gambit before we get excited about that now June release date. Sorry, ladies, it's not coming out on Valentine's Day anymore. You can't drag your boyfriend to see Gambit in 2019. We're going to move on to our next story, which involves more nominations, more awards. The Directors Guild nominees have been announced. Their nominations for the feature film category is what we're going to focus on today. It's a pretty heavy precursor for Oscar nominations, so this is kind of important. The nominees are Guillermo del Toro for The Shape of Water, Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird, Jordan Peele for Get Out, Martin McDonagh, the Golden Globe winner, for 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and Christopher Nolan for Dunkirk. Wendy, this list differs a little bit than what we saw the Golden Globes nominees dish out. Who do you think is going to take the prize, and do you agree with it?
Well, for one, I'm so happy that Greta Gerwig is actually on this list, because I really, really enjoyed Lady Bird so much. And I do agree with this list. Out of the director, so I keep looking behind you at all the pictures so I know who. I am, out of the 5 nominated directors, 2 of which have the movies in my top 5 of movies of 2017. I'm really pulling for Guillermo del Toro, and I'm really pulling for Jordan Peele. And I feel like it's going to come down to Guillermo and his name is escaping my mind, Martin McDonagh.
Yeah, Martin McDonagh for 3 Billboards. I mean, McDonagh won. He and Guillermo del Toro both won at the Golden Globes. So you would think, Ken, that would be the head-to-head competition. If you look at some of the other Golden Globes nominees, Steven Spielberg is out. Ridley Scott is out. In are Jordan Peele, Greta Gerwig. I think that this is the list that I would sign off on. If I'm nominating for the Oscars, this is the list that I want right here. How do you feel?
Look, this list makes Natalie Portman and me like 1/5 more happier. And that's a good thing. And yeah, Guillermo del Toro with his excellent, I love this excellent remake of Splash is really gearing up to have a great award season. This is, like you said, it is a balanced list. I think represents what the year was. This, to me, is kind of the year in film. Movies you heard talked about the most. This is kind of it. You know, obviously there's other movies in there, but you know what I mean. Like, this kind of represents it. I think it's a good trend for the upcoming Oscar nomination.
Dennis Zen, you like what you're seeing as far as the diversity here?
Yeah, definitely. It's more diverse than the Golden Globes, and also more, like you're talking about, it represents the movies that people were talking about. You know, people aren't talking about All the Money in the World or whatever the hell it's called, and the Post, which I really like. Another movie, because people were talking about, you know, female representation in these awards, and Greta Gerwig did a great job with Lady Bird, but I actually would more support Dee Reese, who did Mudbound, which I just watched recently, because I really enjoyed that film. That might just be more because it's on Netflix and it's not getting as much acclaim.
Yeah, I see them. I see now ads pushing Mudbound, and I just wish that I'd seen those sooner. I mean, I saw Mudbound pretty early in the game when it dropped on Netflix. I thought it was amazing. I thought Dee Reese should be at least considered for all these things. If you're just looking at the movie, though, if you're not looking at, oh, we need to include more women, we need to include more minorities, I like this film list. I think this is some of the 5 best movies that I saw all year. Steven Spielberg did a great job with The Post, and I think that the one thing I'll say about Ridley Scott is, you take away all the controversy between Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Williams, who made what on the reshoots. That's a tough thing for a director, for any director to do, much less a 79-year-old director, an 80-year-old guy at the time, to come in and say, no, now we got to reshoot this crucial role, and we got to still hit our release date. That's a pretty incredible achievement in directing. I just think the best movies might have gotten it better here. So do we think that we're going to see these 5 names as the Oscar, Wendy, or do you think that it's going to switch up when we get the Academy Award nominations?
I certainly hope so. I do feel like for the Oscars, Steven Spielberg's going to get his name slide in there on the list. But I hope that well, my love for Guillermo is a lot.
Who did win at the Critics' Choice Awards
last
night.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to see Guillermo. I'm hoping to see Jordan Peele on that list. I am pulling for Greta Gerwig as well.
Okay, Ken, who's winning the Oscar?
I think
my vote is for Guillermo. By
I think it's actually Guillermo del Toro. I think it is. I think that's what I mean by the momentum. And I think Wendy, you're absolutely right. Spielberg. I think people, some of the Oscar voters, like, I gotta get Steven in there. We're gonna go have coffee at his place Sunday. So I think that's fair to say. And I love that Jordan Peele's in there. A Mad TV cast member. Finally, has come all this way, man. I've been watching him for a long time, and I would love to see his name just listed in the nominees for the Academy Awards.
Yeah, that's a tough rationale to have for the Oscars. I'd love to vote for Greta for Jordan, but I'm having coffee with Spielberg at Dupar's at the Grove on Sunday. Dennis Zen, which of these names do you think we're going to see win at the DGAs or the Oscars?
I think Guillermo is a front runner in both. He won for the Golden Globes, and what he did with Shape of Water, I think, is pretty evident. I do think Spielberg may sneak in there for the Oscars. You may see this list minus. If I had to pick one, has nothing to do with quality of the film or quality of directing, just based on what I think. I think they're going to take Jordan Peele out and put Spielberg in there.
Okay, well, it is a Del Toro sweep, at least here. He won at the Critics' Choice Awards, like we said, as did The Shape of Water. We had people there. Christian Harloff was there. Was Perry Nemiroff there, too?
Yeah,
she went to the
was.
Critics' Choice. I texted Perry last night. She said she's a bottle of champagne deep, so I refrained from any further texting asking her how it went. Christian got a lot of selfies with people like Gary Oldman, Hans Zimmer. You can check out his Twitter feed. They looked happy to be in the picture, so that's good.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, you get worried about Christian at a big event like that all by his lonesome, just going around with his phone, but he handled himself very well. His thumb, he's got a little thumb injury, but Gary Oldman actually took the selfie of him and Christian. Gary Oldman signed up to take the picture.
See? What a great guy.
Agree or disagree with Gary Oldman actually taking the selfie. That's our next segment, and we are going to move on to our first topic. Focus Features has released the very first trailer for Tully, starring Charlize Theron, directed by Jason Reitman. Hey, he also did Young Adult, and written by Diablo Cody. The story focuses on an overworked mother who is a gifted night nanny, Tully, played by Mackenzie Davis. Although she's initially reluctant to work with Tully, the two end up forming a unique bond. The movie opens on April 20th. My big takeaway from this trailer, you guessed it, never have children. What is appealing about having a kid? I see nothing. I see none of the rewarding, the twinkle in your eye, that's my kid. This looks like a trial by fire that you have to endure before you can finally give the baby away to somebody else for good. I don't want anything to do with children after watching the Tully trailer, Dennis. Am I wrong?
From the trailer, no, you're not wrong. I'm sure they are hiding the those brief, wonderful moments that make it motherhood and fatherhood. Oh, yeah. I think that's what they're hiding in this trailer, in the movie, that we will get to see when we finally see. I love this trailer. The funniest part is when she drops the cell phone, because that's totally something you can see happening. I think their last collaboration, Charlize Theron and Ivan Reitman, Young Adult, I like that movie. Never will watch it again. It's so cringe-inducing, her character, and she does such a great job with it. Won't watch it again. I think this one is going to be much more humorous. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be some sort of new take on Mary Poppins here, because you got the nanny coming in to like save the family there, but Mackenzie Davis, good choice.
Yeah, Young Adult, it's you framed it correctly. It's one of these movies that is a great watch, and it's tough to go back and check out. Wendy, this movie looks like torture for me to watch, but I might enjoy it just from the lens of this is never going to happen to me, so let me watch other people struggle with this.
Well, you say that now.
I'm saying it for eternity.
Like I actually had a lot of fun watching this trailer. I laughed at all of her struggles, and it just makes me appreciate all the moms out there, and it also makes me question on whether or not I want to become a mom, because like I don't want to say they're over exaggerating. I think some of those instances are like real life, and it just makes me like wonder. I want to to put myself. And I think it's going to be a very relatable movie for a lot of people, and I think that's going to be a huge box office draw. And it's obviously a comedy, so I'm ready to go see this.
Ken, the one note I would have for any male watching this trailer is try your best. If you're with a lady and she's bearing your children, do your best to not be Ron Livingston and walk in and complain about frozen pizza for dinner.
That's hard to say because Livingston's an idol after Office Space. Like, he just can do no wrong after Office Space.
He still looks like he's playing Peter in this movie.
This was actually a great show. I love Reitman. Up in the Air is one of my all-time favorite movies. I really love that movie. And what's going on here, this is good collaboration, good creative team, realistic. Is that nanny magical? Like you said, Mary Poppins. It reminds me of the 1982 movie Electric Grandmother with Maureen Stapleton and Edward Herrmann. No one at this table? The family
No
is
clue what you're talking about.
gifted with an electric grandmother to take care of the Cody, help me. No? All right.
You went to the Millennial for a 1982 movie?
That's what it like. Magic Nanny shows up. Like maybe she'll be singing like Mary Poppins. But I'm all on board. This is actually was kind of a funny but too realistic trailer.
Yeah,
so I'm intrigued.
It didn't. That's the thing. It didn't feel like a heightened sense of reality, or we're gonna take the quirks of being a mother and then to ramp them up for some zany goofs
with some one-off one-liners and snappy comebacks and hamburger phones.
No, this felt real.
Yeah.
And Dennis brings up a great point. The scene where she just drops the cell phone accidentally, you get that one moment of peace, and then it just ruined everything. Honest question here for the panel. I know it's movie talk. This is about a trailer. Wendy, you said that this decreased potentially your desire to be a mother.
Yeah, it's scary. Look at her. She's disheveled. She's tired. The cell phone thing would definitely happen to me because I drop my cell phone at least 5 times a day, and like I don't want to risk dropping it on a baby or wake up the baby.
Dennis, what did this do to your desire to bear children?
It definitely makes it look much more arduous, and it's probably much more closer to your real life. Just looks like you get like practically no sleep.
Ken, do I need to ask?
No, yeah, look, hey, I used to really, really want children, all right? That was called the mid-'90s. And then I coached a baseball team in 1998 of 13, 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. And at the end of the season, I saluted the parents and went, never will I have children.
Yeah, I don't think it's in the cards for me, but if you got any dogs, bring them on. Okay, we're going to move on to our next agree or disagree. Everybody agrees kids are not for us. Our next topic involves Natalie Portman possibly replacing Reese Witherspoon in a new movie, while Fargo and Legion creator Noah Hawley's feature debut, Pale Blue Dot, suffered a setback last year when Reese Witherspoon vacated the lead role. A switcheroo is underway to keep things on track. Variety is now reporting that Oscar winner Natalie Portman is in talks to take over the part, which is that of a successful female astronaut who starts to unravel when faced with everyday life after she returns from a mission in space. A release date has not been determined. This sounds fascinating to me, Dennis. As somebody who goes into outer space, what more can you achieve in this lifetime than going to outer space and then you come back and you got to go to the grocery store every week? I like where this is at. Do you think Natalie Portman would be the right choice?
Yeah, I mean, you're swapping one Oscar winner for another, so in terms of talent, I think it's fine. I'm interested in the story. I'm wondering if they're going to take it from kind of a physical perspective, a psychological perspective, or what, because I was reading about I forgot the name of the astronaut, but he was in space for about a year, and he's come back, and he has all these physical issues because he says like the gravity on Earth is like crushing to his body. Like it's hard for him to do a lot of stuff. And so I don't know if they're going to explore some of that with her, but definitely they're going to go into some psychological stuff. She's in space. It's something, vastly different. And how do you come back to a normal life and function in society? Yeah,
it sounds really fascinating to me, Ken. I want to see that exploration from both the psychological and the physical perspective. Natalie Portman doing it.
Yeah, I agree with this idea. If you're going to lose Reese Witherspoon, you get an Oscar-winning actress to replace it. Plus, she's Queen of Naboo, so she's going to bring some of those experiences. I, like Dennis, I'm very intrigued by this story because it's like when you and I go to a chain restaurant and we just have a great meal and we have to deal with regular life the next day.
Oh, it's
like
tough.
It's the worst thing in the world. How can you wrap your brain around? Now you're throwing gravity problems in it. Yeah, I'm on board for that. This is interesting, but this has taken a little while to get going on. But this is the showrunner of Fargo, and he's got a pedigree going in. So even with you kind of sometimes worry when there's switcheroos and everything, but sometimes it's just business. So hopefully this project gets off the ground.
Should be noted that Reese Witherspoon did not depart the project for creative differences or because she was clashing with the director. She actually just wanted to make room in her schedule for a potential second season of Big Little Lies, and we saw what that was able to do with the Golden Globe. So might have been the right decision on her part. Is it the right decision for Natalie Portman to take on this role, Wendy?
Well, I think for acting, yes, because Natalie Portman is a fantastic actress, but based on like the synopsis of this movie, it sounds like maybe a little bit of comedy thrown in there, a little bit of physical comedy specifically because we're talking about gravity sickness. And Reese Witherspoon, I think, has such a talent for physical comedy, like what we see she can do in like I'm thinking like Legally Blonde right now, like the funny little things, and I don't see that as much from Natalie Portman when I think physical stuff from Natalie
Black Swan,
Portman.
a lot of physicality, not a whole lot of laughs
but not like
in there.
comedy, you know what I mean? So it's a little different, but I am not opposed to seeing Natalie Portman in another space-related movie. Okay,
well, we have a lot of comments saying that they are on board with Natalie Portman. You guys can chime in the comment section right now. We also have Dular says, Ellis, it's not about kids, it's about the grandkids. You can enjoy being with them at the end of the day, then you can send them home. I think it's too big of a hurdle to get to the grandchildren. I'm going to go ahead and disagree with you there.
I'm going to have Cody Hall to take care of me in my old age. Like, that's the agreement we've come to here.
Well, that is the key, is that that's why you have nieces and nephews. That's why you have brothers and sisters who can create children. Then you just become the best uncle of all time.
Right.
So then they'll come visit you in the home. But I was visiting my grandmother's 90 years of age. I went and chilled with her in her home. Right. She seems to be having a great time. Just her, the dog. She doesn't even want to go to dinner most of the time because she's like, I don't want to deal with my friends. I just want to watch the playoff games. And I'm like, I am a grandmother.
Yeah.
Good to know. One more agree or disagree, and then we're going to get to your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Our last one is another trailer, and boy, is this one intense. John Hamm finds himself in the middle of Beirut in the new movie called Beirut. Ahead of the film's debut at the Sundance Film Festival, the first trailer dropped, written by Bourne Trilogy scribe Tony Gilroy and directed by the machinist helmer Brad Anderson. The movie takes place in 1982. John Hamm is a U.S. diplomat and expert negotiator who was tasked by the CIA to negotiate for the life of a friend that he left behind. It opens in theaters on April 13th. And I got to tell you, you're giving me Tony Gilroy, who wrote the Bourne trilogy and also helped do the reshoots of Rogue One and a lot of things in between. John Hamm, this looks like a perfect vehicle for him. I am on board with this movie. It looks intense. It looks gritty. I love what I'm seeing so far from this trailer. Dennis Zen, what say you?
For the trailer itself, I had kind of mixed reaction to it. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. But I like the people behind it. Brad Anderson, he actually directed one of my favorite horror movies. Horror's not a huge genre that I'm into, but it's called Session 9. You know, you mentioned he did The Machinist. He also did a movie called Trans-Siberian. Even The Call I enjoyed. So I'm looking forward to it more from that perspective. With John Hamm, it seems like he's been nailing some of his supporting character roles, right? Like with The Town, Bridesmaids, what was the other? Baby Driver he was in. Some of his lead movies he hasn't been doing so well in. And so this is one of those cases where, okay, is this one that he's going to succeed at, or is it going to be another one of those films that John Hamm, like, a forgettable film?
Calling an audible, Omaha, so you're buying this. Now we're buy or sell. You're buying this trailer.
Yeah.
He's buying the trailer. I love that you brought up his performance in The Town as the FBI or the cop who's tracking down this team of bank robbers in Boston. This is the same kind of role in a much different setting. Wendy, I'm buying it. Dennis is buying it. Are you going to be a contrarian?
Yes, I am going to sell, not because it's not good. Not because it's not good. I like John Hamm a lot, and I like the people involved a lot. It's just personal taste is where this is setting the difference. Is I am not into these type of movies. It's very intense, and usually I come out of it really, really depressed. And for me, someone like I like going to a movie to be entertained and come out with just like, you know, like. Then maybe that's why I like comic book movies so much, because they're pure entertainment. So while I will see this in theater because I like to support movies, this trailer didn't get me super excited. It kind of made me go, ooh, and I kind of shied away, like physically shied away from the screen a lot of the time.
Ken, this made me want to go to Beirut more than Tully made me want to have kids. What do you feel about the trailer?
Wendy, what if I was to add robots? What if robots came into this thing?
Oh, well,
John Hamm is
in
there.
that case.
Boom to the wall. We must get out. The terrorists have the all-spark. Would that work for you? I mean, I want to make,
The
this good.
Drop in the Transformers lore.
Yeah.
Drop a little BB-8 thingy, majigger. You sold me. That's it.
I'll buy this trailer because I do kind of like these kind of movies for the historical relevance of them. And this trailer made Argo look like the comedy of the year. You know, like it just like this is very intense. Rosamund Pike is great. I like Shea Wiggum is in this movie, supporting role. Great in Boardwalk Empire, Nucky Thompson's brother. I love Shea Wiggum. So interesting. And yeah, Hamm, you're so right. Hamm kind of became this comedy sidekick. Because he's damn funny. His stuff on 30 Rock and all that stuff is great. But you forget some of the other stuff like The Town. So I'm curious to see what Hamm can do with this serious stuff.
Yeah, serious movies that don't involve children in the least. We have one more agree or disagree topic, and it might get a little sensitive here. Yesterday, the New York Times issued a report in which multiple women levied allegations of sexual misconduct against James Franco. James Franco, of course, recently won the Golden Globe and last night won the Critics' Choice Award for his performance in The Disaster Artist. And the reason why I want to bring it up on Movie Talk today is I like to talk about what these allegations are going to do as far as his Oscar chances. Now, look, there's a lot of versions that you can take with this story. There's a lot of angles you can look at it. I don't want to put anybody here in the panel under the heat of saying, do you believe or do you not believe these allegations? Now, look, me personally, because sometimes when you're in this world or you're in these circles, you have knowledge that is not made public about certain people and certain allegations. Look, I'm just going to say right now, I believe these women and I support them, as a lot of people who are coming forward about allegations of sexual misconduct last year and this year. But that is not for me or for anybody here to say that I'm passing judgment on James Franco as of today. I believe the women. I'm not saying that you have to. You can wait. You can say, I want to see more. I want to see evidence. I want to see this or that. That is this is the court of public opinion. Nobody's a judge, jury, and executioner here right now. But I do think it's an interesting, albeit myopic, take on this to say, does this affect his Oscar chances, Dennis? Do you think that this is going to? I don't think it's going to affect his nomination because most of those votes were already cast by the time the New York Times report officially came out yesterday. But when those nominations are announced, which I think James Franco is going to be in the mix, are voters going to be a little hesitant to cast their ballot for him because of these allegations?
I think ultimately, I don't think so, just because, at least as of right now, it hasn't gone past the allegation stage, and also just reading some of the stories, they just sounded like, not that they weren't true, they were just more about how weird James Franco is as a person. Very strange. So I don't think the scandal is going to get big enough where it's going to affect his Oscar chances.
It's one of those things, Wendy, where it's very tough to read a story about one person, then compare it to the crimes or the alleged abuse of somebody else. But with James Franco, is it going to affect his Oscar chances, and do you think it's fair if it does?
I feel like, especially now with all these past stories that's come out since Harvey Weinstein, I think it certainly would affect his Oscar chances, not passing judgment on him or anything like that. But I think now everyone, especially with voting coming up, everybody's a little bit more conscious of the subject. And I think they're going to, before they vote for his name or not, they're going to really think about it for a second and maybe go the other way.
Yeah, I think it will, Ken. And look, you have to really look at the other actors nominated to say, well, was he ever going to have a shot at beating somebody like Gary Oldman, the greatest selfie taker of our generation, and then also starring in The Darkest Hour as Winston Churchill? Gary Oldman is one of the names that you hear bandied about as far as not only winning this Oscar, but also having a Lifetime Achievement Award combined with that, because he has not won an Oscar yet. So I would think the tea leaves point to Gary Oldman anyway, but do you think that this clears the path for him?
For Oldman, because I think this will affect Franco's chances to win. I think you're right. The nominations kind of were already went out. This is that train already kind of left the station there. But I think because of where we are now, thankfully, a year from now, look a year past Casey Affleck. There was smoke around the fire there, and it didn't hurt him there. And I think that we dealt with those stories differently just a year ago than we do now.
Right. Casey Affleck had stuff that was rumored about him, but it never came out in a consolidated report with multiple women like the James Franco story.
Right. And that's my point. It's like even just allegations or talk, public opinion, we handle it differently. And I think voters now with this out and about, if do they still do it with pens? I don't know.
There's a lot of Chads involved. There's still
the other
Chads.
way.
You do it with your mind now.
Right.
You don't have to. You don't have to write. Yeah.
Wow.
You do it with your shoes. They light up a certain color.
Yeah.
Actually, Morse code. They do it in Morse code.
So I agree. It will hurt his Oscar winning chances. This will be out there enough that it will take because we're no longer in a separate the art from the artist type of era. Like this is that used to be something you could do and not a great thing to do, but you know what I mean. That was just more like now we take all of this seriously and we look at it and there should be some kind of repercussions if this is true or more comes out, all that kind of stuff. So I think it should give voters pause.
Right, and it's a question that everybody has to ask themselves, whether you're just merely a consumer, you like going to the movies, or you're actually voting on an award, is where do I draw the line? If I hear something about somebody's personal life, am I going to pass judgment on their art, or am I going to withhold my support of them because of these things I heard in their personal life? That's for everybody to do individually, or hang out with your friends and talk about it. Have this conversation is the other thing I'm stressing, because I think it is important in this day and age. And whether Franco gets nominated for an Oscar or not, that remains to be seen. Those nominations come out next week, I believe. He did win at the Critics' Choice Awards last night. He was not present to accept the award. So if he wins at the Oscars and isn't present to accept it, maybe Tommy Wiseau just gets to go up and give the speech that we all wanted to see at the Golden Globes. I'm just saying,
Academy.
it's got a chance at happening. Do you want to see Tommy Wiseau? Even if Gary Oldman wins for Darkest Hour, I think he should let Tommy Wiseau give a speech one day.
Well, I don't want to see Tommy Wiseau taking Gary Oldman's spot, but I would like to see Tommy Wiseau like on stage doing something, say something from the movie or whatever. Just be him. Just be there.
Do you think we're going to see Tommy Wiseau at the Oscars then?
I hope so. I think
so.
in a bit. I mean, I don't think James Franco's going to win, not because of this, but because what you were talking about before. Gary Oldman is the front runner, and people are looking to, give him a lifetime achievement, just like they did with, Martin Scorsese with The Departed. Departed was a great movie, but it was also like this, this is a lifetime achievement thing. So
Jimmy Kimmel's hosting the Oscars. Ken, do you think there's any chance that Jimmy Kimmel does like a sketch or something with Tommy Wiseau? He's got to have some presence there, right?
that would actually make some kind of sense. What a world we're living in, right? Dream, kid. Dream, kids. Welcome to Hollywood. What's your dream? Put your face up on a billboard. 14 years later, all the rewards and benefits will finally come to you.
You know how they always do, like, they pre-shoot all these, like, sketches?
Yeah.
Do you think, who's hosting Kimmel, right?
Yeah.
He's going to come out of that rooftop scene and do that over and over again?
I think that's fair.
I think that'd be great.
I mean, we all know the greatest Oscar bit of all time is people auditioning saying, would you like to buy a monkey? Come on. The Letterman Oscars 95 are the best Oscars
The Letterman Oscars are, it hasn't gotten worse with age, I'll say that. It was something that happened, and when it happened in 95, you can go back and watch it and still get a weird kind of satisfaction.
I love it. Oprah, Uma, it's great.
We are going to remind you guys once again, start tweeting us your live Twitter questions at Collider Video. And we also have, it's Friday. We've been not only teasing it all week, we've been excited about this for months on end. The #1 superhero movie of all time, as voted on by us here at the Collider Studios and the Collider.com staff, has dropped. It is up right now. You can check it out. It came out at about 8 a.m. this morning, and the comments started rolling in fast and furious. So make sure you guys check out that vid, see what we had to say about the greatest comic book movie of all time as voted on by here. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Hey, that's a new segment on the show. A new Jedi Council dropped yesterday, hosted by that young man, Kenneth Napzok, in place of Christian Harloff. And a quick reminder, we're going to be doing a special pre-taped episode of Movie Talk that's going to air Monday in observance of Martin Luther King Day. And what we're going to do for that show is have you guys determine what we talk about. So you can tweet us at Collider Video. You can go to our Facebook page, go to our Instagram page, ask us questions, and we're going to answer some of the best and brightest ones on that day. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Let's move on to mailbag. What's that? We do not have a mailbag today, kids. We're going right to the live Twitter question. So here we go. Blue Leafs 13 kicks us off, probably a hockey fan. Do you think there was any chance to see Andrew Garfield reprise his role as Spider-Man in the upcoming Venom movie? Sorry, bud. I don't think
No.
there's any shot
No.
you're going to see Andrew
Zero.
Garfield. Is there any
Zero.
shot that you see any Spider-Man in the Venom movie?
Yes.
We've heard no.
Yeah.
Dennis, you say yes.
I say that you might be able to see maybe a short cameo at the end. Maybe they'll do a post-credit scene just to let you know it's part of that universe. I think it is going to be hard to do a Venom movie without Spider-Man, just because I think he's integral into the origin and also who Eddie Brock is as a character. But I think they will show like a little Tom Holland scene at the post-credits of Venom.
Ken, when you go see Venom, you got to be wearing your Spidey underoos?
No, I'm going to keep him to the C-3PO underoos. that we
Will you be
wear.
disappointed if your character from the Spider-Man underoos is not in the movie?
I'm not disappointed. It's weird that he wouldn't be in it, right? I mean, this is like having a Lex Luthor biopic and there's no mention of Superman. Like, it would seem kind of weird. So I think they'll find a way to work it out. These are great times to be a superhero fan, right? Everyone, Disney's buying everything, and now we're just this person's showing up here. Yeah, put Spider-Man there.
Well, Wendy, we did get a teased picture of Venom and a quick teaser of Venom earlier this. I mean, obviously,
non-Venom?
that could have used some more spicing
You mean
up.
Tom Hardy?
It was basically just Tom Hardy hanging out reading a notebook. Do we need to see Spidey and Venom, or are you going to be okay?
I mean, I would like to see Spider-Man in Venom. I just don't see how that's going to work. But if that's the direction they're going to go, then I guess I'm going to go along for the ride because I've been wanting another Venom movie since that other one that I don't like to talk about.
Yeah,
it's just not good.
Yeah,
You
I
were in
was
that
not
movie.
great as Venom.
Don't forget.
I apologize, gang. I didn't write it. Janine the Machine is next up at Janine Devine. If Dark Universe had an end game of Monster Squad, if that was their whole goal, if the Dark Universe started because they wanted to make a Monster Squad reboot with Shane Black involved, would that have saved the Dark Universe?
Ooh, I think so. I mean, I like that. First of all, let's just not touch Monster Squad. That's a classic we want to keep up on the shelf there. So, but I think that would have been interesting. Some kind of fun in game. A Dark Universe Avengers. Yeah.
That's what I wanted all along.
yeah.
I think Monster Squad is not one of those untouchable movies from the
How
80s that
dare
you can never
you,
remake.
sir.
It's a good movie. Wolfman has nards. It's fantastic. I think we can remake it for a modern time and maybe even make it a little less, and campy's the wrong word, but take it a little more seriously from the monster perspective. If we get a Dark Universe off the ground finally, Wendy, do you want to see Monster Squad involved in that somehow? Or would you like to see them stand alone as individual stories that occasionally cross over?
No, I mean, if you're going to call it the Dark Universe, I would like to see Monster Squad. And Ken's looking at me with disappointment because I know he doesn't want the movie to be remade. But I think now with all these ensemble movies like Justice League and Avengers, it makes sense.
Dennis Zen, did the failure of the Dark Universe to get off the ground, did that rob us of the Monster Squad remake we all want?
I don't think so because I don't think they would ever call it Monster Squad, and I think the tone would be a lot different. I think what they did want to do an ensemble Avengers-like film with the Dark Universe, but I think they would have taken it a different direction.
Okay, next up is Bob Gray, who says, hey, crew, name a movie that was critically acclaimed or loved by audiences that you absolutely hated. For Bob, he says that the movie Gravity was complete garbage and overhyped, one of Sandra Bullock's worst performances. Wow, a movie that was critically loved or adored. I haven't seen Phantom Thread yet. That'd probably be my answer, but I haven't seen it, so I can't really pass judgment on it. Dennis, is there any movie that just everybody was loving and just skipping around town saying this is the greatest thing ever, and it just did not resonate with you?
It's tough because most of the time when I hear something like that and I see the movie, I don't hate it. Usually I end up just thinking it was either okay or I liked it. I just didn't love it as much as other people did. I know there was a lot of hype for Hurt Locker, which eventually won the Oscar. And it's not like I watched it and go, oh, this is a terrible movie. I liked it. I thought it was a good movie. I just didn't think it achieved the level that other people did.
Ken Napzok, are you on board with me hating Fantasia, or you got another movie that everybody loves that you hate?
I'm trying to think. Pretty much any movie released between 1990 and 2018 is probably on the list for me. It's funny. I was thinking because I mentioned how I do like them all individually as creators and collectively as creators, But I didn't like Juno as much as everyone. It was one of those things where it was like, whippy, snappy comebacks, and it didn't connect with it, and that sometimes is it. The other one, I'll say this, is I like it, but I remember we had this debate on air back in like 2012. Avengers to me wasn't as special as everyone else thought. I was definitely more in the Dark Knight train and Dark Knight Rises, which I think we fought over. Dark Knight Rises hasn't Dark Knight whatever. The Dark Knight.
Yeah, it's the Dark Knight Rises, and no.
Yeah, right. We fought over that. But yeah, Avengers still to this day, Avengers is just like, it's like an all-star game. Everyone comes in and throws around, plays for an inning. If someone pinch hits and Hawkeye closes the game, I'm like,
I feel like Chris Farley when somebody just replaced my Folgers crystals with other coffee. You son of a bitch. Wendy Lee, the one that the director that everybody seems to love that I just can't get on board with is Paul Thomas Anderson. I tried to sit down and watch Punch Drunk Love, and no.
I agree with you on Punch Drunk Love. I agree, and I watched it. Maybe I need to rewatch it now that I'm older, but I watched it like maybe senior year of high school.
Should watch it now.
I should watch
You're
it now.
both wrong.
Really?
What?
No, Paul Thomas Anderson's one of my all-time favorites, though he's gotten denser and thicker and hard to appreciate. Those movies are a little bit different now, but up to Punch Drunk Love, he's absolutely one of my favorite filmmakers. Magnolia is one of my favorite films.
So like when the credits rolled for Punch Drunk Love, I was kind of like I didn't know how to feel. I was like, do I love this? Do I hate it? I'm not sure, because there were moments that I really, really liked. And then there were moments that I was like, WTF. So I will take your advice, Ken, and I will watch it again. And then also another movie, going back to the Twitter question, is everybody was loving, or a lot of people, Lost City of Z. And I didn't like it as much as everybody else.
I thought Lost City of Z okay.
It was okay, but it wasn't great. I think when I was watching it, I expected it to be like great because of the praises, and I was just like, all right.
Made me want to go in the jungle with my old man. Go build a fort somewhere. I will say this for Paul Thomas Anderson, I really like The Master. Yeah, I really thought that was a great exploration.
There Will Be Blood. The Master is the one?
The Master, yeah. The Master's my favorite one. No milkshakes, but a whole lot of good religious overtones. And watching Philip Seymour Hoffman, that slow rise to anger that he has as the cult leader. Oh, it's good stuff. Yeah. Okay, last Twitter question. I think it's a great way to put a bow on this episode and this week of Movie Talk. J. Scott St. Clair says, if you had to adopt a child character from a film, who would you go with?
Oh,
so you have to adopt a kid. I'm going to cap it at age 10. You can't adopt somebody because like me, if I was going to adopt a kid, I'd adopt like Marty McFly. He's old enough to pick me up when I'm too drunk at the bar. He's got a skateboard. He's doing his own thing. You got to adopt a kid that's 10 years or younger.
Oh.
Ken Napzok, who from the history of film are you adopting? Broom Kid is off the table.
Broom Kid's off the table. Well, you
How
said
dare
10,
you.
right?
Yeah.
10, so I can't choose.
No Broom Kid.
I can't choose Wicket because he's 11.
Wicket's 11, yeah.
At least the actor was playing him at the time, Warwick Davis. I'll go with Lip Dickey's character from
that's
Jerry Maguire.
That's a good first round pick.
That's
Which
a good
because
one.
I had a chance to work with Lip Dickey over at Screen Chuck. He said now he's like an adult and he's like buff and ripped and he fights and he's like MMA type of guy. But yeah, I still human head is 8 pounds. That's good. Let's hop in the car. Let's have some fun. Show me the money.
Oh, that's a good. If this is a fantasy draft, you just got Aaron Rodgers. That is a great pick. Jonathan Lipnicki's pretty cute. Wendy, can you top Lipnicki?
I don't think I can. That's a good pick. Can they be animation? Do they need to be human?
I'll give you animated, but they're going to come into live action, so it might freak you out a little bit.
Well, I'll take it. My pick is Miguel from Coco.
Oh, I like
Talented
that too.
with the guitar, so
right.
all day, every day, we're going to have music in our lives. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and he seems like he's a pretty, he's not too rambunctious if you just let him play music. I think the big thing, the reason why he's running around, away from his family is because
he wanted to make music.
Yeah. So if you give him a guitar, it might get annoying if you live in a small apartment and he's playing music all day.
I'll build him a soundproof room.
Yeah, okay.
And that'll, he can go in there when I need quiet.
Okay.
But most likely, I'm going to want to live with the music.
All right, so Miguel the musician, and you took Jonathan Lipnicki, who has a lot of interesting facts about biology. Dennis Zen, your child that you're adopting from a movie.
Well, since Ken stole mine,
Hey!
I had that one.
Did you cheat? Did you look at Dennis's computer?
No.
That was I didn't actually look it up. I just thought, okay, that's tough. Even though I didn't love this movie, I thought Dakota Fanning's character in I Am Sam was a adorable kid actor.
Okay. I have no recollection of who she was or what she did in that movie. What about her performance in there is why you're taking that kid?
I mean, she just has. She was charming and had a lot of heart. You know, she cared for Sean Penn's character a lot. It's just they had a great relationship, even though I didn't think the movie itself was that great.
Okay, see, I was going to take Elliot from E.T., but he's just got such a potty mouth. I can't. When he drops the PB early on in the, I can't.
Yeah.
Sorry, kid. I
What about
can't.
Gertie?
No. Here's who I'm going with, and it's going to be a controversial pick. I get that, but I have reasoning behind it. Is that I love horror movies, but I get very scared, and they scare me afterwards. And if you live by yourself, or you're sleeping in a room by yourself, and you hear the air conditioner goes crazy, or something like that, after seeing a Paranormal Activity kind of movie, you want somebody who is steeped in the paranormal and is aware of what is and what is not in your house from a spiritual sense. That's why I'm adopting Haley Joel Osment from The Sixth Sense.
Okay.
If that kid's talking to dead people, I want to know what dead people are in my apartment because I want to know where to sleep. If there's dead people here, don't worry, kid, pack it up. We're moving again.
Got it.
I do not want to be around dead people. I am scared of ghosts. Haley Joel Osment is my Ghostbuster.
Oh, I go the opposite. I feel that he would attract the ghost because he could talk to them. That he would bring the supernatural to me. So I'd be like, Haley Joel Osment, you're out. You're out on the
Oh,
street.
dear God, what have I done?
Yeah. What have you
And
done?
also, he sees dead people, so I mean, you won't know when you've actually passed over.
Damn
You'll
it.
just be in oblivion.
Jeez. Did you see somebody on Twitter wrote
Sorry.
me and they had a dream that I died the other night? They're like,
I
hey,
saw
Ellis,
that.
had a dream you
stop
died.
that.
Sorry about that. Best of luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No.
Great way to end the week. Okay,
Oh,
I'm
no.
adopting Haley Joel Osment, and my weekend's going to get very, very weird. Thank you guys for tuning into this edition of Collider Movie Talk. I want to thank everybody behind the scenes, Adam Smith, Cody Hall, keeping this train a-chuggling, and my esteemed panel, chock full of panelists. Dennis N., where can the kids find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram Dennis.tzng. And yeah, like Ellis said before, check out Top 50. We dropped #1 today. It's been a fantastic series. It's been going for a long time. And just give a shout out to our editor, Frank, who did a wonderful job editing all of those. And yeah, definitely check out the whole entire series. It's fantastic.
Frank crushed it, and Frank, good luck to your Atlanta Falcons as they travel to cold Philadelphia tomorrow. Ken Napzok, where can the kids check you out?
You can find me at Ken Napzok across all social media platforms. Thanks for tuning in yesterday to Jedi Council. It was a fun time. Check it out if you haven't.
How's your Patreon doing for Office Space?
Oh, yeah, we're going to do the Office Space commentary.
Did we meet the
well,
goal?
Not yet. You, me, Makuga.
Okay. All right. Check out Ken's Patreon. Wendy Lee, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on YouTube at the Movie Couple channel, at Wendy Lee Zaney on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat.
I'm just Mark Ellis, guys. You don't need to worry about. I mean, if you want to follow me on Twitter and see what people had dreams about me dying this week, at Mark Ellis Live. I'll be at the Comedy Store tonight, where hopefully I will not perish. And at the end of the month, I'm going to be at the Ice House Comedy Club. You can get tickets at markellislive.com. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will see you on Monday for a special episode on Martin Luther King Day. Peace. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.